Let's talk about faith. Let's talk about Christianity, growing up in Christianity, being a pastor's kid, and all of the struggles that brings, all of the doubts that brings. I don't see a lot of creators that have these kind of conversations and they're just honest about the struggles of this sort of thing. So that is what we're going to talk about today. Let's just get right into it. So if you've never seen me before, hi, my name is Zach. I am a pastor's kid. I am almost 23 years old. I will be in April. I grew up in the church. I have been going to church for the 22 years I've been alive. In my lifetime, I have witnessed my dad preach and be the pastor of 2 different churches. And this sort of thing is really hard for me to talk about. It's a really personal subject. It's something that I'm wrestling with a lot. And it's just one of those things that in my mind, this video has to be perfect. I need to execute it perfectly. But then I end up not recording anything. So I just wanted to get on here, record this, and literally just whatever comes out, just be so authentic about it and just put it into the video. So yeah, like I said, I've pretty much gone to church my entire life. That meant going to church on Sundays and Wednesdays, Sunday morning, Sunday night. As we got older and times kind of progressed, a lot of churches kind of quit doing the Sunday evening thing. So eventually our church as well did that. And eventually they kind of let me slide by on the Wednesday nights, not going there because at the church we had, there were just not a lot of kids, especially around my age. Unfortunately, actually, both of the churches that my dad pastored, neither one of them had a lot of children, especially the second one. I was 13 years old when we moved to the second church, and I really identify that in my mind as kind of like the moment everything changed for me in my life. Granted, I was still a kid, but I was really happy in the place that we were in. I had a lot of friends, just not a lot to stress about. And then I got drug away from that. As a kid, you go where your parents go. And for me, it was something that was really traumatic for me. It's really hard to work through and deal with. Growing up in church like this, it can be a good, and I think it could also be a bad thing. For me, it instilled a lot of chasing this perfection, that is what God wanted me to be, this perfect person. I was really just taught that you don't need to make mistakes, that like if you make mistakes, there's a price that you're going to pay, whether that as a kid is getting your butt beat or getting grounded or, whatever the case may be. And unfortunately, one of the things that comes with being in the pastor's family is it's pretty much all eyes on you. It feels like there is a standard that you need to be kind of living up to and setting this example, that you are just the perfect child and that your dad, that your parents raised you perfectly and you were just like the image of Christ. So you mix that with social anxiety and a list of things that I was struggling with in private, and you have a kid who feels completely overwhelmed, who feels like he can't talk to anybody about what he's going through because he's supposed to be this, like he has the parents, the pastor, he's the pastor's kid, he's supposed to know these things and he's not supposed to do the bad things. He has a great leader ahead of him. He shouldn't be messing up. Like, he should be good. And then you also throw in the fact that whether they purposely did or not, my parents, it really instilled in me to not make mistakes and try to be this perfect person. So when I was struggling, whenever I did have questions, doubts, or legitimate like addictions, I didn't have anyone to talk to. And that's actually one of the really unfortunate things about my particular situation, about not having really any kids my age that were in the church, because at least then typically you can kind of build, church friends that you trust and rely on and go to for questions and helping each other. But I know that a lot of people don't have that, especially people in smaller churches. So for me, growing up, it was kind of comparing myself to these, at least from my perspective, mature Christians that have been doing it for 20 to 30 plus years. My dog is being ridiculous. He just threw his bone under the stove. Now I'm going to have to go get it. Miles, you need to chill. Okay, sorry, I finally found it. But I feel like there's so many different videos I could make just about this, covering so many other topics. And this is what I kind of mean about my brain just kind of obsesses about it, and then I end up never making the video because I just feel like it has to be perfect and I have to cover everything in this one video. But then the more I think about it, I think about I'm most positive that there are other people out there that have gone through similar things as me, and I know that how much I wish I saw people like that whenever, especially like during my teenage years, and just how hard it is to manage that stuff when you feel like you're alone and when you feel too ashamed to even talk to God because you've kind of been taught that like you've messed up, you've failed God, and you just feel like, is there even any point in continuing this? Before we go any further, I do want to say I'm in a weird spot with my faith, and imagine that. It probably has to do with the way I was brought up in it. To anyone watching this, I don't want you to think that I came out on the other side of this as a hardcore ongoing Christian. That has not been my experience. This past year has been, I would say, the most honest I've been with myself about it. I've had doubts for a really long time. And if you were to ask me today, are you a Christian? I would say, I don't know. And it's not something that I feel a rush to find out. I think that everybody, has their own timing and their own process that they go through. And, right now, I don't know. I can tell you that I'm not going to church. I'm not praying. So to, the really hyped up perfect Christians out there, that's, they probably say, no, you're not saved or whatever. And maybe I'm not. I honestly, I can't really answer that question. I know I've grown up in this and it's been instilled in me. And, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm basically just living my life and going through my own experiences and just trying to have grace for myself, knowing that I was raised in something and it was instilled in me so hard that it's pushed me away from it. It's my experience in it has not been good. So honestly, I really just wanted to make this video for anyone out there who is going through or, has gone through and it's still affecting you like it is me. I want you to know that you're not alone. I also want you to know that all of these people that you think are looking at you and judging you, even if they actually are, they're not perfect in their own selves. No one is perfect. We are human beings. Everybody has their own process that they have to go through. And if you walk out of this and you don't want to be a Christian, let me be the person to tell you, it is your choice. I mean, if it is more exhausting to you following this than not, that's kind of where I'm at right now personally. In my experience, I've felt better out of it than I have in it. And, I might get some wild comments on this video. I don't really know. I'm just trying to be honest and open because it was something that I was really looking for at a younger age that I never really found. So yeah, just really know that you're not alone. Try to give yourself grace. If you have a very relatable situation to me, that's hard to do because you haven't really been shown grace. And it's hard to try to give yourself that when you feel like you don't deserve it and you've been raised that way, But I would honestly just try to tell yourself, you're young. Like, if you're watching this, you're probably around my age, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger. I don't know, but regardless of your age, like, we're humans trying to learn as we go. Everything is not black and white. It's really not. And some people will try to force you to see it that way, but it's not. They don't know you. They don't know what you've been through. There is so many gray areas. I mean, think about it. If you've grown up in Christian, think about how many denominations there are. Think about how many different things that Christians can't agree on. And some Christians even think if you can't agree with me on so, you're not a Christian, you're not going to heaven. Like, it's so divided and divisive. Just try to remember that. I'm not trying to scare you out of Christianity. I genuinely want you to find whatever is best for you. If that is Christianity, that is great. I'm so happy for you. But I want you to feel the freedom that you don't have to please people. You don't have to please your parents. I finally sat down with my parents in this past year, and I told them, there were more things that I could have been more open about, but I don't want to say it like that. I'm just going to say sometimes it's hard to communicate with them. So I was just honest about my doubts and that I'm not going to be going to church and that I just needed some time to kind of figure myself out and what I believed. And that is a totally normal thing. Like, please Do not let other people tell you otherwise. Like I said, I'm trying to still instill this into my own head. I've said this a lot, but it legitimately is just, it's a process. So just please do not give up. I have had thoughts, and I'm sure that I'll make this a separate video, but just thoughts about wanting to end things, wishing things would be over. Please never go down that route. You are not alone. If my biggest recommendation that I can give you is to try to get some therapy. And it can be a Christian or a non-Christian therapist. I would definitely do some research and, you know, find one that you actually connect with, because I've heard bad stories about therapy too. One of my friends had actually a pretty traumatic experience in therapy, and I hate that for him so much, because it would benefit him so much, but because of what happened when he sought the help, it's hard to pursue that, and that makes 100% sense. Luckily for me, my first try, the therapist I found has been great. I still go to therapy once a week. I've been going, I believe, almost 2 years now. It is a process, guys, but please do not give up. Know that you are not alone. If you do have someone that you can be brutally honest with that, you know, is not a therapist or whatever, maybe do that. And the last thing I want to mention here is if you have a sibling that went through something similar to you. Me and my sister have a 12-year age gap difference, but we're so close now. Like, we're basically best friends now. But if you, I would say that's a very good person to start talking to, because there's such a good chance that they relate to exactly what you're saying. I mean, you had the same parents. You most likely had very similar experiences. I would talk to them, and you might find a lot of validation in one another, and that can be a really nice bonding moment. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. If you have any questions for me, and I mean legitimately any questions, if you're relating to what I'm saying, I've been there, man. I'm still in it. I want to have a community. It's something that I've never really had. I've never had people that I feel like relate to me. And I've had friends. I'm not saying I've never had friends, but you know, I've never had friends that grew up in church. Any friend I've ever had has not been a Christian, ever. It's just been the way it's been, and it's not for lack of trying to find Christian friends. It's just legitimately the way it's been. So I would love to find people that can relate to what I'm saying, and I just want to help in any way that I can. So if you have any kind of questions, like how do you deal with so and so, comment it, please. I mean, and that just helps with video ideas too. I want to start this thing where, you know, pastors' kids are helping each other out through this hard process that it is. It's something that doesn't get talked about a lot, at least not that I see. And I really think there is a need for helping these people go through this interesting experience. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. Like I said, any questions, drop those down below. I appreciate you all so much, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.